Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Louise.
You're in some new digs today.
I am. It's pretty crowded at the moment, but I'll get settled.
Yeah, had to move.
I moved
Okay.
to my little bedroom.
Life is that's a big switch when you move. That's for sure.
Yes, it really is.
Well, we're back for Journey of the Adopted Self. We're nearing the end of this book, and literally we have just two chapters to go. So chapter 16, the adoption tie. And I'm just going to read the first little paragraph, then ask your thoughts. Where are the adoptive parents in all of this? We must pause to ask. While the adoptees were growing up, the birth parents were the invisible parents in their lives. But during search and reunion, it often seems that the adoptive parents become the invisible ones. But invisible or not, on stage or in the wings, the adoptive parents are always there in the adoptee's psyche and have influence on the reunion process.
For sure. I mean, in my own experience, and this was before I read anything about adoption, I had a lot of guilt in my own, on both ends, guilt with particularly the mothers, not necessarily my dad, but the mothers, birth mother, adoptive mother.
And did they meet?
Feelings.
I forget.
Never met.
They never did meet.
They never did.
Yeah, I thought of you in this because I haven't. My mom met my bio family on my mom's side, but not my biological mom, obviously, because she had passed. So I wondered how that would be. Like if you had, I couldn't remember that. I was thinking when I was reading it, did Sarah's mom, did the moms meet?
No. They never met. No. I highlighted this. There are no rituals for such a momentous event in the child's life, such as there are for baptism, bar mitzvah, graduation, or marriage. No one knows how to react when it happens. The adoptive parents are suddenly asked to accept an alternate reality to the one in which they adopted. Secrecy is to be replaced by openness. In searching for those once invisible parents, the adoptee exposes the denial by which everyone has lived as if in a gentleman's agreement.
Everything is stripped away. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. Well, I
had a thought that I wrote down after I read this chapter, because when it got into like how people, adoptive parents had reacted, or maybe how birth parent, the reaction, all I could think of is like, once again, the child is not being considered here. It's all about everyone's else's feelings and never the child. So, and I wrote this whole chapter, the reaction of the parents just reinforces how much counseling and therapy should be required before the adoption.
Yeah.
It just, to me, that's what this chapter
reinforced. For all the adults.
For all the adults. Before they take this on, I know what you're doing and getting into, and always put the child's needs first.
I completely agree. And we had so many different guests that have been on here who have had every kind of reunion, good, bad, and the ugly, good, bad, and the ugly, with the adopted parents and with the birth parents. I was thinking how there was a part where it talks about fear of losing the child, about fear and anguish. The adopted parents are, like you said, a new reality. All of a sudden they're like fearful and they act mad out of anguish. My father acted like that, really angry out of fear. And now I realize, but I was left balancing as the kid. Oh, I've done something wrong.
And I better take care of,
they came around, but
his feelings, like, and everybody. I better take care of, okay, then I can't do what I really truly want because I need to take care of,
And the bio family too, because I felt like I got to take care of them. They're like, why isn't she getting back to us? Why isn't, it's a lot of like, I'm supposed to perform in a certain way feeling. And
then my biological mother felt that I wasn't open-hearted, which I've talked ad nauseum about on this podcast. And that was because of my own guilt about my parents that raised me. And, it's tricky. There's a lot of, again,
you wouldn't let yourself be open.
I wouldn't let myself be open-hearted. And now it's like something I feel sad about,
And you would now. That's what's sad, because we've done the reading and the work to be open-hearted for everybody. I can see how it would be an alternate reality. We've raised our kids. Trust me, if somebody came in and said Jack was like, oh, I want to be in his life, I'd be like, what? I can barely share him with his girlfriend or something. But part of it is when you enter into adoption, you have to know you've adopted someone else's baby, and nobody was counseled on this.
Nobody was counseled on that. There was one example of, because the chapter goes through different scenarios, and there was one scenario in which the parents were the adopted parents were like totally loving and accepting, and and that was a situation that was, everything worked out. And I just thought, but it maybe took a lot for them to do that, but that was the healthy way to be. And the outcome was great. As soon as anybody's fear and ego gets involved.
Yeah. And she brought up our friend Nancy Verrier.
Yes.
Nancy was an adopted parent. I mean, that's how for people who don't know, that haven't listened to the beginning of our podcast or read Nancy Verrier, she was an adopted parent who wrote about the separation with the baby and the triad and everything. And because she went through these things herself. And you have to have a lot of strength. It's like when you put aside your feelings when your kid needs something and you're like, well, I don't need that, because you have to do it on both sides. And it reminded me, we have a guest that said something like they competed at the door for her, sort of like, oh, thank you for this, or thank you. The moms competed and the babies, or the baby, they're an adult, but really you become the baby, just standing there like, which mom do I, who am I loyal to? Can't we all want the best? I don't know.
There was something that I don't remember. I'll find it, that I highlighted that was just like the bottom line about the whole thing. Shoot, I'm sorry, and I'm wasting valuable airspace.
It's called editing. Editors, edit here.
Editors, yes. Here it is. The adoption system is littered with regrets. The adoptive mother regrets that her child is not biologically related, and the birth mother regrets that she relinquished her child. And then, and here, this is what I was saying. The mothers have to put their child's interests ahead of theirs. Otherwise, the adoptee is back in the chalk circle, being pulled apart by two mothers.
The chalk circle. It's good. I mean, she's really, the way she writes, it makes me re-examine like everything in my life again. I know. Does it do that to you? It's like, they're deep, these chapters. And I start to have empathy for everybody too. I see people a little bit like, we have different friends that are struggling in different parts of adoption, or people who don't want to search, people who do. And there's a lot in this. I think Jeff said it. There's a lot of room for forgiveness, and everybody has a big role that they can get hurt. Right.
Yeah.
So we have to be kind to each other, and people need therapy. I think you're right. It's the bottom line.
Well, I just think if you, if it's all about the way you feel as the parent, then you're doing a disservice. And you need to be, there has to be awareness. And sure, we're human, but again, the adoption system is littered with regrets, and just the awareness. That's what it is. It takes awareness and effort, and understanding and empathy. And
it does. And
obviously, it's still, this is still going on, and it's not, people aren't aware. They're not, it's not a required thing, that it's so, the system is just messed up.
And she did say that the adoptee often goes through this journey alone, even when the adopted family would like to go through that with them. They're still really going through it alone, because it's kind of their own journey. And you have to also not be too involved. You just have to listen what they need.
Right.
And I think nowadays, with more open adoption, maybe that's a problem that comes up that I'd love to hear about from somebody. Is it too involved? Like,
is it too involved? I think that she touched on it a bit.
Yeah, a little bit, because
I have to give my parents credit. They were very supportive, and if they felt feelings about it, they didn't express negative feelings to me. They, were very supportive of my seeking, and
it's huge.
I mean, very supportive.
I think you do have to give them credit, because I think it's really big. Like, my mom came around, but it took her a long time.
Really long mine were right off the bat.
It's only because of us talking. Yeah, I say kudos to them, because especially your mom who listens.
Yeah.
Well, we have someone who is coming up. Our guest is awesome, and she has some stuff with her moms in there
I
too.
mean, yes, every guest has some reunion stuff, don't they?
Yeah, they sure
Have we had
do.
any guests on that haven't had any reunion process?
A few people have been looking.
Looking,
Mhm.
really?
I'm
Have
trying to
there,
think, actually. Maybe
well,
not.
John early on.
Yeah. Right. Some people just have dead ends.
Right. John had reached a dead
And
end.
Rachel. Oh no, Rachel
No,
had
Rachel
no,
did
she
not
had
have
a
a dead end.
little. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mick,
Oh, yeah, Meg.
I don't remember. Well,
Hi, Meg.
yeah.
I see him on LinkedIn. All right. Well, we can't wait to meet our next guest. And it's awesome to see you in your new spot.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
See you
See
soon.
you. See you in a minute.